Hi Scorpio, and welcome to your Aquarius season, February 2025 reading for your intuitive tarot and astrology. All information to work with me one-on-one is below. Website, scheduling link, I believe, payment options, that's all below. And then you can find this, any other content that I do. The second part to this video, which we get even more in depth into the month because it is not over. And the full moon is a foot. I was like ahead. I was like, I'm looking for a different word. And yeah, so check that all out below. There is also an Aquarius season meditation on both Patreon and YouTube. I do share on my TikTok and Instagram. I use the same alias, Venusian Waves, so you can check me out there as well too. All right, let's get right into your reading. I also will share at some point something I really discovered about you guys and about your emotions. Very excited about it. I'll probably just start telling you because I flipped the card. It usually will show its face. Where is that? So, what I learned about you and what some people don't really know about you is that you have this way about you when you know yourself, when you know your emotions, when you know yourself, when you know your feelings to an extent, right? The more self-aware you become, what you notice is that there will be times when you can experience certain things with yourself or with others or certain emotions, but you know that you're actually protecting others from not only yourself, but what you deeply feel does manifest, whether for negative or positive. But this is also in a negative way that I'm talking about, is like if you don't want to watch something, right? A certain movie or a certain kind of vibe. If you don't want to go somewhere with a certain kind of vibe, it's all for the benefit of the people that are with you, because that's actually like a very deep and strategic form of projection. And what you're beginning to consistently vocalize and have to vocalize in a way that's not like, now you know where it's coming from. So not as maybe abrasive for some of you if you tend to have more of a sharp tongue, that your words become more, I was gonna say magnetic, but easier digested. And what you've been learning about your past, you are able to consciously form ideas, words, speak about what has kept you, and maybe you feel encouraged to speak about all of these thoughts or ideas that have come up that haven't honored what I just said, like haven't honored how you actually feel. And you may be having this foundational change in your life where you're being presented options where you can have this conversation, where it's not about whether or not the other person can receive it. It's more just like it's now integrated with you so that you can speak these things in ways in which, like, regardless of who you're speaking to, you're able to get it across in a way where it's literally just straightforward. And it's like I'm sorry, I keep moving this. That is me, all me. Where it's very straightforward. And it's because you're building a different foundation in your relationships in every direction, perhaps. And some people, what you know and can understand is that when you've treated someone a certain way, that transition into shifting, you know, if someone doesn't know you too well or doesn't want to know you too well, maybe it's a coworker or it's just different relationships in your life, they're not going to understand that you're shifting. They might have an assumption about you already, depending on the person or the type of person, the type of environment that you're in. So you will have maybe opportunities to, if you care enough about these people, or you have to work with them enough, this person, whatever, given the situation that you see fit, you may find a time to address them one-on-one and say, hey, like, there's a shift in me, and you don't have to get any like specific at all, but you can just say like, this is where I'm at, boom, boom, boom. And then for some people, they'll just like assume the vibe. They'll get where you're going and they'll just let you change, and it will be less of an expectation for you to be anything else, because certain people are more primed for growth. Now, does this come with a grievance? Does this come with making you realize how much you've, been only taking a look in one direction? That there's been other cups behind you. There's been other things available to you, and you have maybe spent from Four of Wands to Five of Cups. Maybe you've spent too much time here. And a lot of times when we need to move forward with something, we don't quite understand just yet. And then when we start, especially if it's something new, a change that's newer to your life. Like, we can go through changes that can feel similar, but it's a newer change to your life. You're speaking up about different things. You're opening up about the intelligence that you have, and your, like this change in strategy in your life, and this deep understanding of a foundation in your life that maybe has come from a lot of grievance of who you used to be, of what family looked like before, what maybe for some of you even tradition looked like before from the outside. And now that you're close enough, something happens in our lives, whether we realize what's happening or not. Something happens, and then all of a sudden we have these deep feelings that you probably have lots of premonitions about, and you still in the moment realize like, oh, I'm still, there's still this deep feeling. And what you are also doing is feeling for yourself, feeling for this change. And you're understanding that the power that you've given certain energies, that you've given certain people, that you've given other situations, that you've given to identities or characteristics about yourself, you've given so much power to those that you don't check in and like actually ask yourself from time to time. And we were only going off certain patterns when Pluto was in Capricorn, and now there's an ability to be a little bit more free, to realize how constricted we've been. And not that there isn't any constriction with Aquarius, because it is a fixed sign. It is traditionally ruled by Saturn, but is also ruled by Uranus. And I do see it more like that, more of a modern astrologer, but I do see both of those things in Aquarius. And I think they just like a structure, right? They do remind me of a 4. They remind me of structure. And you also don't mind a little structure. So what is happening is this breaking free from what you didn't know maybe you had more power over than you thought, or that you're finally at the tail end of a cycle where you can feel through anything that's held you back mentally. What emotionally was stuck and holding you, and now it's holding you accountable for it. If you want this to change, then you need to make changes. You need to shift the mindset. You need to realize, and what I was saying before, it's coming back, I'm sorry, is that once you start moving forward, right? If you start moving forward with a new family, a new way of relating to others, a new version of self, or an upgrade or an up level or a change that's for the better, it brings up what has stopped you, right? That's what I was saying before, but now I'm tying it together. It brings up what has stopped you. It brings up what mentality isn't going to work anymore. And maybe it wasn't stopping you. Maybe you weren't meant to do whatever you thought you were meant to do or be at any given time in your life. But now at this time, whatever you deeply desire, regardless of whatever you consciously, so subconsciously desire, regardless of what consciously you desire, what most likely will come up is whatever you're subconsciously desiring to heal, shift, change. And this is about you confidently moving. Like, we have no majors out. These are all this is a great story. And I think this is why I'm like, deep pause, dramatic pause for this time. I just think it's because you know, and you've known this. And I think this is something in one of those situations where you even hate to say it to yourself, but it gives you so much power to just own the shit out of it right away and just be like, I've been avoiding this. I've been denying this. I've been unaccepting of myself in this way. And now I am shifting. And now I have unbreakable confidence. Now I feel more connected to myself. I feel more youthful. There is a shift that's happening where you're going to feel more youthful, where you let go and you really see how hindering this Knight of Swords energy can be when it's only used in the Mars fashion of just like everything and anything is I go very fast for this length of time, very cheetah status, and then I stop. And that is really important. But now we have Mars in Aries, it's really important to realize that you might have more of these impulses, but they may be coming from your ego and insecurities. So now that you have more of a check on this with Venus and Aries, and which is your fellow Mars ruling planet, but you're also ruled by Pluto, you really do have this confidence in what you're saying, what your approach is, where you're coming from, and the ability to see these things for what they are emotionally and mentally, and how it's all coming together to, because there's like a hanging wreath and then there's circle wreath, so it's full circle. And you might have had the correct support. You know, we know you like to be loners, and you're actually one of those signs. I find that it's like Libra through Capricorn, maybe Aquarius, even Pisces, but I would say in the most general way, you and Sagittarius have this way about you where you can be alone and do your own thing and nobody will know what you're doing. You may be texting a couple people, but not really. And then you go out with someone maybe you haven't seen in a while, or someone asks you to hang out and you just decide, yeah, you know what, I'll go out tonight. And it's like there's more of this adventure to the days where you don't have any obligation, because you can really feel into your life. And the more you allow that, say you want to rest all day, normally it's not your thing, you get up, you go, but giving yourself that leisure helps you shift into who it is you're becoming now, into this change that's happening. And it helps you recognize that, sure, it's been mostly you not wanting to have to deal with the thing, have to discipline the kid, have to discipline yourself, give more love to yourself, understanding that this is more love for yourself, that this is going to cause a shift in your luck as well, your fortune. You know, there's some equaling out of karma. If the devil came up, I was going to like scream. And you're able to, those are the bottom of the deck, we'll go into the second part even more, but this is where you're able to address and communicate, because when you're so clear with yourself, you can communicate something very simply, but it will be felt very deeply, and it will be, again, you moving into this, you actually moving forward, and you realize that your confidence has been stuck in these areas of your life, maybe internally in your mind, where some grievance, some kind of loss, and this is a 9 years, so a loss will be somewhat of a teacher. If it's not physical, you will feel maybe a loss. Again, you're losing the part of yourself that maybe is constantly in a rush or needing to like really get things done, but you're able to be so present that could be the thing that shifts, and people aren't used to that about you, so it causes some friction at first. But what makes you realize eventually, you have an epiphany that you've been holding a lot of your confidence in some insecurity, and that's normal. So you addressing your foundation, you addressing these things, and a lot of you will maybe go off on your own in some kind of way, or start a new creative adventure where you get to see, you know, who moves along in this journey with you now. And you find that there's less weight here, especially for those of you who have been feeling heavier, had added weight to you, or, you know, can't hold weight as well. Like, there is both ends. You'll be able to hold weight, but hold your ground. It's also about holding your ground at this time, but while also not holding on to any expectations that are not good for you, that are not positive for you, that are actually blocking you. So if you can, that's a way that you can intend or use as a mantra with words this month. It's an air month, right? So you can use that to your benefit, because you can get yourself emotionally prepped for that and start to take this notion and manifest in ways that are just unbelievable, that happen swift and quick, you know, that you don't even, it's almost like, wow, there is a whole change happening here, turnover happening here, and you know, it's for your benefit. It's for your benefit. It's for healing of, maybe a closing of a healing of where you've given so much control over to. If you've been addicted, if you have like obsessive compulsion, if you have any of those things, there is a healing and a level of healing that you'll get to with any of whatever that you're healing, especially chronic things. There will be a shift, and there, along with that, comes a deep belief in the power of your emotions. And it's a very intimate process that you'll go through, especially within your relationships, and it will cause you to see where you've missed where the luck was, like, because your eyes were in a different direction, but really the luck was there. It's just you haven't addressed it. There could be a Libra or Cancer who helps you, maybe even a Gemini. Gemini's in Jupiter's in Gemini. I always do that. I do that. So yeah, at this time you'll just see a shift in the narrative, in the story, and you'll be so a part of it. It's very different than I think anyone else's experience this month, is that you'll be so a part of it and present for it, because nothing is clouding you right now except for your own judgment. And once you finally see that, there'll be like a swinging door. You'll just be like, oh, I can just walk right through now and let that swing behind me, maybe lock it. But it's gotten you thus far. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how we get into this in the next part, because I think it was a very in-depth, very in-depth, even though it's not like any majors or aces out. But we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have more at the bottom. And I think that we're going to look at your relationships, more your relationship to your foundation, where you may have been, because you'll say no to something, but it's not until, the right person comes along or the right timing in your life where you become more open to that idea, especially if it's for loyalty or for love or something that you love, something that you care about. Maybe it's money, right? If money is something you really care about right now. I think what you're finding at the end of this is a different sense of protection for yourself that is also psychically attuned, whether you're sharing that or not. And that's why I'm also excited to get more into it. So I think Mercury is sharing a lot of insights with you, Scorpio risings. Scorpio risings. You will have 2, 3, 4th house Aquarius. I should be able to do that, but I'm just really tired today, so I need all the extra help I can get. Yeah, so your caregivers, so Scorpio risings, and even sun, moon, you could feel the energy of this because it is there in the sky happening. Foundations, caregivers, you may change up how you move throughout your day. You may see how you can connect deeper to yourself and others right now. More intention in the long-term plan and how that will affect your community or how you see yourself in community and your fortune and where that has been hidden from you because you've been hiding it from yourself. You didn't, you just didn't know, or you did and you didn't, but you didn't realize how much it wasn't, showing you. And now if you're a Scorpio who does, resonate with that, even if you've been in great places and very fortunate places, this will be a whole different thing that's happening with you. So it's really important to use the confidence that you have very wisely with your words. It doesn't look like your ego, because your ego will be checked if you don't. Like, there will be a moment, very surprising moment. But I think that there is, even by a younger person too, or that a younger person has helped you, and you didn't realize, and maybe you pay, I was gonna say homage, but yeah, you maybe pay a compliment or words of gratitude or affirmation to a friend this month that really, connects with them, and your relationship blooms even more. So don't be afraid of that this month, because I think it's really important for the growth that you're going to experience in these areas of your life. I'm excited to get into the next part. Everything to work with me one-on-one is below, and Patreon will get into the second part of that. You can also check out last month's. I'm going to be starting to put out January's second parts if you want a little bit of it, because they do go into February and it shows you how I go about it. So you can also check those out too. I think that's it. See you next month, Scorpio.